Now the story of the Jewish exiles who lost everything, and the one man who had no choice but to help them rebuild it. It's the book of Nehemiah. If I were going to make a movie of the Bible, and I'm not at this time planning to make a movie of the Bible, but if I were going to make a movie of the Bible, when I got to the part that is covered in Nehemiah chapter 3, where most of the building and the wall happens in Jerusalem under the leadership of Nehemiah, I would definitely deploy a cinematic montage for this part. There's too much here. I mean, the montages exist for a reason, right? You know what I'm talking about when I talk about that? It's the parts in movies where you got to show a lot of growth on the part of the main character or the main characters, but it's the kind of growth that in real life takes forever. But the audience needs to feel the passage of time in order to believe that the character has changed and grown and overcome what they need to overcome, so that when they go back out and face whatever they need to face, they're a new character. They've grown in some way. And you have to have a montage because you can't just show the whole thing. It takes forever, but you also just can't skip that growth and be like, oh, well, as a family, we have to build a house before winter comes. And then in the very next shot, there's a house and everybody's just standing there proudly being like, we did it. That doesn't work. You have to feel as a viewer that labor. If you skip over it, it feels like a Mary Sue. It feels like you skipped important character development, but some character development takes a very long time. And so, of course, if you're making a movie, you want to accelerate that a little bit. And that's why you use a montage. And also, montages need to have music, particularly soaring mid-1980s radio-friendly rock anthems with super vague lyrics about achieving things. You do not want lyrics that are overly specific to the situation. You just want stuff about hearts that are on fire and burning and yearning and courage and having what it takes to do what's right and stand up and be brave and never back down. And discovering that the power was within you all along. Just it does not matter. Just make it rhyme and cram all. You could go and take 100 phrases like that, and as long as the phrases end with words like tonight or all right or heart or apart or fire or desire, you could just make a generator where you click a little box like generate montage song, and it could just put all those rhymes together, and literally it would work for any montage. It absolutely does not matter as long as it follows these basic rules. So we pick some song and we put it over the top of Nehemiah chapter 3, and then the montage that covers all of this growth, all of this building that's happening in Nehemiah chapter 3 as the wall goes up. It can't just all be good. There has to be tension, because in a montage, you got to have a thing. You got to have an Achilles heel, a problem that the main character is trying to overcome. So if you're doing a karate montage in some kind of like Karate Kid style movie where you got to fight the bad guys and overcome the bullies or whatever, there's got to be something at the beginning that is the Achilles heel of the hero. This is always why he's getting in trouble. He can't handle this thing, like sweep the leg. Like he can't recognize the sweep. So the montage starts, and the very first thing we see is the sensei teaching the learner, and boom, sweep the leg. He falls down. He didn't recognize it, and the sensei looks disturbed, like, will he ever learn this thing? Cut to the close-up shot of the student. He's like, will I ever learn this thing? And then we go to other activities, running on beaches, jumping in place, lifting weights, doing exercises, going out for ice cream together to blow off some steam. But every few shots, we come back to that same situation, and we realize, there's been growth while the music's playing in the background, but he still can't recognize that leg sweep kick. Oh, well, we continue with more training and more improvement, and the music's soaring and going along. We're having a great time. But then we come back and we see, it's a little better, but he still doesn't have it. He can't recognize that. We go through the whole thing, and then finally we get to the end, and he's getting closer with every try, a little bit of improvement, until finally he recognizes the kick. Boom, he puts his other foot down and blocks the kick. There's a quick moment of eye contact between the teacher and the student. Counter move, counter move. The student knocks over the teacher, and now he's got him in the winning position. It's like, boom, gotcha. And the teacher's like, all right, now you're ready, as the final notes of the song play. That's how you do a montage. So how do we take Nehemiah 3, which is a whole bunch of building things, and make that into a proper montage? Well, let's just read a little bit of it, and we'll pick it up from there. I gave you a little bit of this last time around. We're just going to start from the beginning anyway. Eliashib, the high priest, and his fellow priests went to work and rebuilt the sheep gate. They dedicated it and set its doors in place, building as far as the Tower of the 100, which they dedicated, and as far as the Tower of Hananel. The men of Jericho built the adjoining section, and Zakur, son of Imri, built next to them. The fish gate was rebuilt by the sons of Hassanah. They laid its beams and put its doors and bolts and bars in place. Meremoth, son of Uriah, the son of Hakkoz, repaired the next section. Next to him, Meshullam, son of Berechiah, the son of Meshezabel, made repairs, and next to him, Zadok, son of Bana, also made repairs. The next section was repaired by the men of Tekoa, but their nobles would not put their shoulders to the work under the supervisors. The Jeshanah gate was repaired by Joada, son of Paseah, and Meshullam, son of Besodiah. They laid its beams and put its doors and bolts and bars in place. Next to them, repairs were made by men from Gibeon and Mizpah, Meladiah and Gibeon and Jadon and Maranoth, places under the authority of the governor of Trans-Euphrates. Uzziel, son of Harhiah, one of the goldsmiths, repaired the next section. And Hananiah, one of the perfume makers, made repairs next to that. They restored Jerusalem as far as the broad wall. Raphiah, son of Hur, ruler of the half-district of Jerusalem, repaired the next section. Adjoining this, Jediah, son of Harumath, made repairs opposite his house, and Hattush, son of Hashbaniah, made repairs next to him. Malchijah, son of Harim, and Hasub, son of Pahath Moab, repaired another section and the Tower of the Ovens. Shallum, son of Haloesh, ruler of a half-district of Jerusalem, repaired the next section with the help of his daughters. This is awesome, right? Are you feeling this? It completely has the vibe of everybody pitching in. I like the little hint that we got in there about how some of these people were making the repairs opposite their house. It looks like Jediah was the guy who made the repairs opposite his house. So people are maybe pitching in on the parts that are close to where they live because maybe they're a little bit more vested in that, or it was a little easier to negotiate to get people up and working if they would see the results right in front of them, or to take ownership of the work and put better craftsmanship into it if that would be the part they'd have to stare at all day long. Who knows exactly what the process was for getting everybody to work on which parts they worked on, but look at the different classes of people. They're all coming together. They're all doing the thing. So how do we translate this to a montage for this movie that we would make that we're not actually going to make? Well, this is what I think we got to do. First of all, non-negotiable. We got to have that mid-1980s pump-up radio rock song with totally nebulous, inspiring lyrics going the whole time. We got to have a problem at the beginning. What is the problem? Well, I don't know. You and I worked our way through Ezra and Nehemiah. The problem is twofold, right? We got to build something structurally, but we also have to build a people, because the people have not been able to come together and do what they're supposed to do and have sufficient unity and clarity of purpose to achieve these things. The broken walls and burned out gates, they're a symptom of the actual problem. The problem is the people and where the people have been in their heads and their hearts and their relationship with each other, their relationship with their neighbors, and their relationship with God. So a good montage has got to show growth on both of those fronts. How do we do it? Okay, first of all, I think we start off, the music is going, and we discover right away that the people look weak and flimsy, and they're not ready for this work. And some of the ones who were burly and brusque and looked like they actually could build a wall if they wanted to, they're too distracted by some stupid rivalry they have with each other. And then we get started on the work, and they're grumpy with each other, and one of the big burly guys runs into another one on accident, and a whole bunch of bricks maybe fall off, and they get ready to fight, and people are holding their arms back, and there's Nehemiah up on the ruined walls looking down on this, shaking his head like, am I ever going to be able to get these people to pull together? But then we cut to a little bit of progress, and we see people sort of learning how to use a trowel. Maybe we see an old guy who knows a thing or two about how to build a wall, showing a little girl how to do it. And she's getting better and swifter all the time. She's plucky and precocious. But then we take a step backwards as some more people are fighting and disagreeing about things. Maybe this time it's a couple of old heads of a household who are arguing over some plans on a sheet, and we can't hear what they're saying, but boy, do they seem mad, and Nehemiah is ready to pull his hair out. How are we ever going to get this wall built with all of this fighting? And then more of the wall gets built, and we get some more shots of progress and people getting a little better. And there's that plucky little girl again. And now the old guy who taught her how to do the work is sitting back and drinking a lemonade and giving her the thumbs up. And she's happy to be taking a double shift. And everybody's having fun. But those two guys who always fight, who are from rival families, they just can't set their differences aside. They're always messing each other's stuff up, even sabotaging each other a little bit. And it's ugly. And finally, there's some interventions and some growth. And then maybe we have a moment after a bunch more successes where we cut back to the two guys who were always fighting. And the one is up on top of a big, tall part of the wall that he's built, and he starts to wobble and fall over. And who should show up to grab his hand from off screen out of the blue just before that guy plummets to his miserable death? It's his arch rival. Didn't see that one coming, did ya? I bet you thought it was going to be the plucky little girl. No, it's his arch rival. And he grabs his hand and they make eye contact. And they're like, I see you for the first time. I see you for the first time. And he pulls him up. They're not like going to hug or anything, but they reckon each other. And they're like, all right, let's do this. And now the building really kicks in. And we got bricks and mortar and stuff flying all over the place. And everything we've seen in the montage that is a metaphor for failure is flipped into a metaphor for success. And we get some cool time-lapse stuff of the wall going up. And all of a sudden, we see a shot of all of the people as the music winds down, standing arm in arm, looking at the section of the wall that they're working on here in the first part of Nehemiah 3. Maybe the whole thing isn't done yet, but that part's done. And they're all real satisfied. And now they like each other. And Nehemiah's there in the distance, nodding assuredly like, all right, now we've got what it takes to really get this thing accomplished. I think that'd be a great montage. Again, I'm not making a movie of the Bible. I've only got 4 or 5 scenes that I've really carefully thought through. And there's a lot that I'd need to probably fill in. But that one would slay. And I think it totally captures the essence of the whole thing. Obviously, we got a long ways to go yet on Nehemiah 3. I need to read you more accounts of people building things and making progress. But before that happens, we got to take a break because we're out of time. That's it for today. And I'm very excited to see what my good friend Jeffrey Foote does with this musical opportunity tonight, because I feel I have lobbed him a gigantic softball. Will he grab something like Burning Hearts from one of the Rocky films? That one a little bit on the nose. I mean, like East versus West, man versus man. Maybe. It's a great song. That would work. Will he lock on to Stan Bush's 1985 not quite hit, You Got the Touch, from the Transformers the movie soundtrack? I think that would be an excellent one. Maybe he'll go with Team America World Police's It's Time for a Montage. I don't know. Maybe he'll do nothing and just play his normal, excellent outro music, and we'll all just have to wish he'd done some sort of montage music. Either way, this helps build the anticipation and the fun. And I'm thankful to all of you for participating in me daydreaming about how this scene could look. And I'm thankful to Jeffrey, whether he gives us bonus sweet, sweet outro music or not. But I'm more grateful if he gives us some. All right, I'm Matt. This is a 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. Let's do this again soon.